and on YouTube. And we're live. My podcast.
We good?
We're on.
Alright, welcome to Paint Night Podcast with Toby and Ollie. I'm Toby.
And I'm Ollie. Let's see. Can't find our live stream. Okay, here we go.
Just as soon as I know I need coffee.
Wait, bring me back mine. Think I'm gonna try to finish up mine today. And add some golds and stuff.
Crystal in your
Yes.
water?
Yes, I do have a crystal in my water.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good. Alrighty. So how much more with that one are you planning to finish up? Are you gonna put more details within the horns?
Yeah, more details in the horns.
And then is that like a glowy thing in the middle?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's supposed to be the like either the insertion of consciousness or evolution. I haven't come up with the full story yet.
Do you usually come up with stories for all of them?
Yeah, sometimes. I don't always talk about them, but yeah.
Like you create that kind of... I know like when I
Like
was
the-
getting... I think when Sam was tattooing my knee, I remember watching all the artwork, including yours, and yours had a story too.
Oh, yeah.
And then Tyson gave me like magic potions and stuff, so I was definitely like seeing like what the paintings were in my head, the story that it tells through the
okay,
elements and
yeah.
stuff that it has. Like I would just like zone into it, and it was like this weird thing. Paintings are really cool in that way, I think.
Yeah. I think for me, it legitimizes, what I'm painting.
Yeah.
If I have a story for it.
See, that's what I always think. I was always the one that like started late with painting or like with any project, just because it's like I need to come up with a concept first. It needs to make sense. It needs to have a story.
Yes.
Like if I'm planning it out, if I'm doing like a big project, I want to like give it like that emotional touch, like something to attach it to, so that when people see it, it's like
I could see that.
a bit of that is with it. But of course, then everybody has their own interpretations of everything too.
True. Absolutely.
Which kind of helps build onto it, I think.
Yeah. And I think for myself,
For different perspectives.
yeah, I'll study different things, and then paintings will come out of whatever teachings or stories or whatever I'm getting into outside of art.
So is it like your way of processing like what you're learning?
Sometimes, yeah.
Or like what you're observing, rather?
Yeah. Not always, but it definitely has happened that way.
I can see that. I would always like... I've looked back at sketchbooks and I would notice the personality difference sometimes.
Oh, yeah, growth in not only the art or the talent, or maybe not talent, but the ability,
Yeah.
but also the just who you are and what you're evolving into. Or at least that's how it was for me when I was a kid. I'd look through like old sketchbooks when I was a teenager or even adolescent or anything like that, and then you look back 10 years later, you're like, oh man. I remember obsessing over that.
Yeah. Like that was a period of my life.
Yeah.
I've always been. I like keeping sketchbooks. I was good about it in high school, and then I kind of fell out of it in college.
Yeah.
That's why that recent one with stickers all over it, the blue one, I actually thought I lost that one for a good minute, and I was really sad because there was the first Universe lady was like my favorite thing of all time. Of course, it was in my car. I just I like.
And even that's a lesson. Perhaps you
But
should
maybe
clean
it
your
gets-
car out more often.
I know. I actually, I've cleaned many things since. Like, I know, like, I still struggle with. I don't know why, but for people who are this, like, I've always been, like, the type. Cleaning scares me sometimes, or it gets me anxious. It gets me anxious as fuck. Like, I don't know why, but
Because you haven't done it in forever.
yeah,
and you
no,
know
that
it's
was
gonna
exactly
be a giant
it.
job.
That was exactly it. I got maids before to like clean up most of the messes, so I didn't pay people. But then like I started getting it more together over this year a bit.
A bit.
A bit, no, a bit, quite a bit.
I'm
Toby,
just
you
messing
have
with
no
you.
idea.
Oh, I have a pretty
I
good
know
idea.
you have a hint of an idea. It was way worse.
I know. That's why I have a pretty good idea. You're way worse. I have a good idea.
But I mean, I've gotten better. I've been wanting to get better is the key. I think it's
Well,
fun.
and yeah. I mean, if you want to, that's everything right there.
But it's funny. The little stuff helps. Plus, my dad has always kind of mentioned that, like, clean room, clean spirit, and thought process. He said it much more eloquently than what I just said. What's it called?
Cleanliness is
Or,
next
like,
to
a
godliness.
clean room invites the Holy Spirit, I think, is what he said. And so I think that, like, now that I think about it, that kind of, like, could mean, like, your higher self. It invites you to be your
Yeah.
highest self. in a
I
way.
know for myself, and I'm sure you can attest to this. Like, if my environment is cluttered, so is my mind.
Yeah.
So that's why I try and clean up and have everything at least like put away and organized,
Mhm.
you know, around me,
Like it makes
because
sense to you.
then I can relax. Because if I see those things, like, it drives me nuts. Like, I'm not an obsessive compulsive kind of person, but that is pretty close. You know what I mean? Where, like, I cannot be
What?
my best
Yeah.
as far as, like, art and all that stuff. I can't completely commit and really get into my art unless the room is,
Clean.
you know, well, I mean, it's not like it's ever dirty, it's just cluttered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get that. Most of the things like that would be really cluttered was just papers of different like it was papers and clothes that were always everywhere.
Yeah. That would drive me nuts.
Oh yeah. No,
You know,
I think
like,
it drove me
wouldn't be able
nuts.
to.
Yeah, I'm like trying to relearn my brain too, like trying to get it to see like when do it take initiative, because sometimes like I was
Always
just
take
always
initiative.
like I know, but my brain like is trying to figure that out still. But it's interesting kind of seeing like I'll think about it more and then I'll be like, oh, like I'll try picking this part up now, or like do a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
But it's like slowly getting into that point. It's nice. I actually like it. I feel good after them too.
Yeah. I just know for myself, like, I do my best work when I'm in a picked up, like, area. Yes,
Uh-huh.
my area always has to be clean, you know, or at least makes sense to me.
Mhm. Yeah,
If
that's
I'm
the other
work-
thing too.
If I'm working on something, then, you know, obviously there's going to be pens and paper and stuff like that out. But if it's being in used
Mhm.
or being used, in the project that I'm actually working on, it's strangely okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it kind of does and doesn't
Organized
make sense.
chaos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, there's a method to my madness. Only I know it, but yeah.
Yeah, I get that. That sounds like my sketches. Like they're a mess, but only I can really translate.
Yeah, but I mean, well, it's work in progress, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm kind of hesitant to show people, like, work in progress because there's so much and so many things to do that I know where it's going or what is going to have attention, you know? So it's like, don't look at this, it's not.
Yeah, but people
ready,
like
it's
seeing
not
that in
done.
between process. I find.
Yeah, but
Oh shit.
I always find myself like explaining or giving disclaimers, like, don't. That's gonna be way cooler. Don't worry about that. Don't look at that.
Honestly, like when I see your like first drafts, like like how you first lay down your oil paintings and stuff,
Mhm.
like that skull that you have at your work. I think you
Oh,
have a
yeah,
picture
yeah,
of it
yeah.
on Instagram, but it's like the brownish reddish toned skull that you have at your shop.
Yeah.
Like I thought, like when you first showed me that, I was like, "Holy shit, that's only the first session! Like that looks really good already."
Oh yeah.
So I think like honestly, like I love seeing the in betweens. I think it shows like what like because most people stop with that blurry phase. I think.
Yeah, just the like really quick out of focus stuff.
Yeah, but then like the more detail you add to it, it's really interesting. What's up?
My buddy Josh called me a sexy beast again.
He's mine.
Thank you so much, sir. My ego thanks you. Or lack thereof, ego, I guess. And my friend Daisy says hello as well.
Nice.
Hello, Daisy.
Trying to adjust this camera to look right. I feel like it's not picking up the details of mine. I don't think it can for anything anyway.
Sorry, what was that?
I'm like fixing
Oh,
up the
for
camera.
the gold?
Yeah, because I'm like trying to put all these little specks down, but
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about them either. Maybe I need to put them more like actual like this, I think, is the key. Less like spread out. Because I really like how this looks. That looks like lapis, for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
Like maybe with some more deep blues and stuff.
Which is what you were going for.
Right.
Yeah.
Aha, here we go. Okay. Yeah, because I mean, like, I meant these spreaded areas here
Okay.
where it doesn't look like specks, it looks like a
Yeah.
shade of gold. Or like a slight part of it.
Like a cluster
Transparent.
of.
There we go. Yeah, okay, I feel a lot better about this.
Oh, it's looking good.
Danke, danke. I hope so. Actually, so we had a party at the shop last night, and some lady was looking at. Do you remember that girl with the halo, and her face is like half in water and half out of water? I don't know if you remember. I need to post it up too. There's several paintings I need to post up, but one of them was like a square canvas, and it was like half of her head is coming out of the water, and then like her body under the water has like a mandala.
Yes.
That's, like, big and
yeah, I
swirly.
do remember that, yeah.
And like, so I painted the halo really gold with this goldish paint, and she was like we talked for a minute, and she was part of the Third Eye Pine Cone people, and she saw it, and she's like, "You should have told me you were an artist too. This is amazing," and blah blah blah. I really like it. How much are you wanting to sell it for? And I was like, I'd be good with 300.
Be like, how much do you have?
Yeah, I know, right. Well, it's also like I would love to give it a good home, but I also love that one. Like I get a lot of good attention from it, so But 3 is also a good number for me. So I'm like 300. That would be great. That would be
I
worth.
think that's a fair price for that.
Yeah, that's how much I would be willing to give it away for. Because I also like I've been shorting myself on. I don't know how you do it. Like short myself on paintings all the time.
Yeah.
Well, you tell me you give it away to people sometimes. And
Sometimes, yeah, because like if it finds the right home,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like there are certain paintings where I'm like, that needs to go with that person, like regardless, you know. So
No, I get that.
I'm a bit odd with things like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn how to price myself better, both on pretty much all fronts actually.
There's it's that's like one of the hardest I guess aspects of being an artist, or you know, like most of my friends.
Like the pricing points.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to price your work when you, if you're a good if you're an artist that's open and understanding of your stuff, you know you could be so much better kind of deal.
Yeah, but you also have to look at it in a realistic marketing, because you are marketing, like.
Right. So you have to be like somewhat proud-ish.
Well, yeah, of
of
course.
like what you do, because otherwise then you just kind of go broke and like you can't make a living off of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a business.
Yeah.
If you're doing it to pay bills, it's a business. So
Right,
you have to
right.
treat it as such.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, I've been trying to get more of that mindset lately. But I mean, it's like, people will understand the worth if they really want it. I think. At least that's my theory.
Yeah. Let's see that.
I'm always too scared, like, I honestly don't price things as much as I should, if anything. But I have seen, like, artists that would price things where it's like, I don't know if a dot in the middle of a canvas or, like, 3 lines of markers on a canvas or something
You mean
is
you
worth,
wouldn't
like,
charge
$1 million?
$1 million for a cup of pee with a crucifix in it?
No, I can't. I don't.
No,
I don't. And I know I'm probably gonna get shit from some artists for saying that, but it's like, I feel like art has to have like emotion and connection with the artist and stuff. And like, if someone has like a brilliant explanation for having urine in what was it?
Yeah.
Whatever the heck you just said, maybe. But I think most people do like shock value art, which isn't like, it's not something. It's kind of. I don't know, because people buy that shit. I mean, there's a demand, and it's fair.
It's no.
But at the same time, it's like also like
clientele
degrading. Yeah, but it's like, but I'm also thinking like the time period of like just art in general, how we came from cavemen to like the awesome renaissance of like really detailed. Well, not really detailed. Like it went to like the church and like fantasy paintings, which were like sort of illustrative, like throughout churches and like deeper medieval kind of deals, and then the Renaissance where it's like super detailed and super realistic and took so much time, and then we got to the point where we started doing illustrations like the Van Goghs and like the what's it called when it's like shapes and stuff?
Impressionism.
Yeah, the Impressionism. Why didn't I have Impressionism cards. I should I should know this by now. But but now we come to like pee in a cup with the toothbrush in it or something.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean,
which I mean, if someone like sculpted it huge and like got a shit ton of pee, maybe like I'd understand that. But just like,
yeah, no, for me, and I can only speak for me. I mean, I couldn't personally do that. Like that's, yeah. I have issues. Maybe not.
You have issues.
Oh, I definitely have issues, but I have issues with maybe like the modern art.
Postmodernist art.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
I really don't like it.
like, that's their thing.
Yeah,
I
like
don't necessarily
ish.
go for it, but I mean, hey, if that's your game, do it, and do it well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me, I could never do that. That's just me. So, but yeah, like, I don't know. I put a little more value on just painting itself. Like, you're creating something, like, create it. And just whatever. Take a bunch of household items and jam them together and poop on them and then go, this is my feelings.
This is my life's work.
Yeah,
this is what represents me.
I mean, okay, like, write a story about it, I guess, or
don't.
Or don't. Yeah. No, but that brings up my little issue, and again, like, if you truly feel like that's your art, your medium, or whatever, like, I back you, like,
Yeah.
okay, but
like, if you like to be able to sell those things to someone, like, that's a talent within itself too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
and
to be able to create that kind of value that someone wants and someone will get for that much.
Yeah, and I mean,
I respect that part.
Yeah, that's what I was about to kind of bring up. It's, you're no longer really selling the art itself. You're selling some story, or you're not selling the steak. You're selling the sizzle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I like that.
Again, I get it. I totally get it. And I'm not anybody that's fucking in any position to, like, say, I've sold a bunch of stuff, or I've got tons of collectors, or anything like that. But, I see a lot of people out there that they make really good money on just coming up with some crazy story and explaining it really well and selling their ideas, and all it is like 4 black bars on a canvas.
Do you think that's the same way with simple tattoos? I've been seeing a lot of them kind of pop up lately, like the simple line work stuff, and
no, because, like, there's somebody actually coming in and looking for that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's like a certain it's the same way with the other things then, isn't it?
Well, tattoos are a whole different ballgame, because, like, people are gonna get tattoos, but, like, once a fad starts, and I mean,
right,
whether it's simple line drawings or Tasmanian devils or tribal arm bars or anything like that.
Tribal arm bars?
Tribal bands in the 90s were a thing. I mean, everybody wanted one. Or
True.
barbed wire on their arm, or whatever. And
I had
don't
a
get me
friend
wrong,
that did
I've got
nothing
tribal. I don't have barbed wire, but I have plenty of friends that do. It's fine. I did all of the things.
All the things.
Yeah.
You partied.
Oh, I definitely partied. But you know what I mean? Like, somebody started it, and then people just kind of go for it.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of artists. They
like it.
They have their thing, and that's what when I started doing the comic conventions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
My dad told me because I was really worried. I was 14, and I was like, everyone here is like 23 or something, and what am I doing here? Like, I just learned Photoshop and stuff, and he's like, you're a different artist, and there is a market. Like, there will be people who like your style. Like, there's something for everybody. Like, not like everyone's gonna like your work, but there will be some people that will love it.
Yeah,
and they
absolutely.
will like because they'll connect with it. And I was like, all right. Well, I didn't get that until, like, much older still. But I mean, it was cool because, like, my dad was always a good storyteller. He would always, like, tell stories of, like, how we got started. And then he would throw out this story about, like, because, like, he wanted the Abbey Road. Have I shown you?
Yeah.
I still have a little button set of, like, the first few times we made it. I always carry it around to, like, that's one of the first few things I've ever made in my life for, like, art selling wise. and it's basically like the Abbey Road with chibis.
Okay.
And it was done really good, actually. That's like one of those like monumental like art stamps of that period. And so I did it on Photoshop and stuff. And my dad told me to do it, and I was like kind of hesitant at first, but then I did it, and it became our bestseller. And he would always brag, and he's like, she said she didn't want to do it, and blah blah blah, and then she ended up doing it, and it's a bestseller. And I'm like, oh, Dad. Jesus, man. But then, like, it kind of, like, I did a Markiplier. Do you know who that guy is at all?
Oh, what?
Markiplier. So he's one of those online gamers.
Okay.
And so he was all like, don't draw him, like, draw someone like Teen Titans and stuff, like, something people know. And I'm like, I'm going to try to do this one guy. Because I think the video game, like, YouTube industry is actually much bigger than we think. Bestseller. Like, every little kid under 10, which I don't understand why, because there's a lot of cuss words and stuff. But I also get it. Like, it's fun to watch these people / like, it's like playing video games with friends kind of deal.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, like, every child would point it out, and my dad was always, I would always tell him the triumphant story of how I was like, yeah, Dad said this wouldn't work, and then we ended up doing it, and, now it's a bestseller, and everyone wants one. And, like, I think it was surprising, like, just little trends and stuff, kind of keeping up with. But also, like, I think doing what you like is very important. Because there was a point where it was like you can either sell yourself out at the comic conventions and do what everyone else does.
Yep.
And make only just fan art. And actually some of them were kind of cracking down on that, which was hurting some business for artists lately. But it was like, I always put my originals a little bit in between.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
too.
I think that is...
And things no one else really do. Like, no one else thinks about.
Yeah. Well, that's staying true to yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think
plus it's always easier. It's always
kinda...
easier to talk about, like, what you know. Like, when you sell something, it's like,
of course.
if you're good, if you made, like, a connection with it, you can make a connection with the customer that loves it, too.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's staying true to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, every artist has that struggle, I think, at one point or another. Some of them just struggle with that nonstop.
Yeah. It was kind of sad. There were some Comic-Con people that were, like, they were stuck with this one style that they didn't really even like. Like,
yeah.
But that's what they've been known for years.
You get pigeonholed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. That they made for themselves a little bit.
Yeah. There is definitely a lesson to be learned there.
For sure.
I don't know what it is, but there's a lesson
Well, I think it's important to change. It's important to, like, do what you love and, like, adapt and change with who you are.
there.
I think it's most important because I know there was, like, several people at the conventions that did only one thing and they stick to that one thing. I was like that for a long time, and, like, honestly, it wasn't until I started tattooing that I started exploring more with, like, my art than I had for, like, several years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was always a strong point of mine when I got into tattooing, was to be able to do any tattoo that walked through the door.
Mm-hmm.
That was you know, if you can do that, you'll never go hungry, you know, unless you want to go hungry, kind of thing.
Right.
And I take pride in that because, like,
yeah,
you know, I don't limit myself to only black and gray or only color or only monsters or only flowers or whatever it is, you know.
It's good to be versatile.
Yeah, well, and to be completely honest, I'm one of those guys that I would get bored really quick, even if it was something that I love to do, like say monsters, you know. I mean, or any dark thing. Like, I love all of that stuff, but if I only allowed to do that, or, you know, only took on those jobs, I would possibly, you know, get kind of burnt out on that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like monsters and all that stuff way too much to get burnt out on them. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Well, that, and I mean, some days I just want to do flowers. There's a lot of really cool textures in flowers, just saying.
Is. Flowers are fun, though. They're cool.
Certain ones.
True. No, I get that. Although I see a lot of Instagram artists, like, they'll find a style that sticks with them and they'll go for it.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, I think.
But I also think, like, there's also a lot of people I've noticed, and you can say the same, but I've noticed, like, a lot of people, not a lot, but a good amount, like, handful of tattoo artists are, like, they'll find their one thing and they'll stick to it, which isn't a problem, but, like, it's hard for them to stray, but also they're, like, a little grumpy about doing anything else, really, or, like, doing, like, anything outside that zone.
I
Which
guess.
is understandable, I guess, if you find something.
No, I've never really talked to too many that express that, though.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, there may be. I'm not saying that that's not right. I can't say that I know anybody personally like that.
Fair
And
enough,
usually, most artists that specialize in something, they
They
are very happy with that, and because I know plenty of guys that do specialize in certain things, and they do well in it.
Yeah.
And they're happy, and they love just doing that stuff, and that's awesome. Like, I think.
Well, that's like becoming master of one thing kind of deal.
Sure.
Which is a fulfillment within itself. Because then you become really good at one thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's also the mindsets then.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody's different.
True.
You know what I mean? So
we're all different equations of certain variables and perspectives.
Very true. I'm just different all the way around.
And I like adapting to things, honestly. I find it fun too. I also like helping people create this image that we like both put in together.
Well, collaboration. Yeah, that's what
I've always found
tattoos
that fun.
are.
Yeah.
It's collaboration between you and the person that you're working with.
Plus, it's always fun. I always like helping people because it's like, I know this is my talent for, like, I've always known, like, art was my thing. And it's always nice when I can help people with that talent, like, whether it was, like, graphic design or present or painting or, like, something to help express what they want to say.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And it's really cool to be able to create for someone who really wants my creations and stuff.
Yeah, I always find it to be an honor. I mean, somebody wants a piece of art or something that I've done, with them or for them. That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
What? Ooh, yellow.
Yeah. Got a little bit of inspiration from the clouds today.
Those clouds are pretty. Do you think it's gonna storm again?
I don't know. The sky looked pretty clear from the last time I was outside.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, it was really pretty today.
It was really nice.
I'm glad we went out.
60 degrees out.
Although, like I said, I need to get earmuffs. I always forget that, like, my ears get real cold. They'll start to sting.
Yeah.
I'm not used to that.
Welcome to Ohio.
Yeah. I like Ohio, though. It's pretty cool. It's pretty nice. It's beautiful.
When
it's
it's not shitty.
Yeah, but I mean, also kind of
it's like gross and gray.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't mind it.
Well,
I notice some
you need
days
a
are harder
balance.
than others. Yeah.
Yeah. There are definitely harder days than some.
But, like, other than that, like, I really appreciate the beauty and stuff down here.
Yeah. Ohio's a beautiful state, that's for sure.
It's nice being down here, actually. I'm
You
glad
mean
I, like...
up here?
Yeah, right. I'm from Texas.
So what,
But even
people
then-
from Texas don't know direction?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's just me. I'm more of a pictorial, directional person. Well, no, but that would make less sense because I'm saying down. Yeah. No, I'm just.
I've noticed everybody from the South likes to say, "Oh, yeah, I came down here," and I'm like, "Wrong direction."
Well, maybe they mean like in general, like down to somewhere.
Yeah, I know.
Like I came down to the house to check on something or something. Even though maybe it's not down.
No, I understand the expression.
Maybe, but I don't know.
But it's always like, wow.
Maybe it's like one of those things where people say Coke differently and stuff, or like y'all. Like maybe it's one of those things. Come down here.
Like, what kind of Coke do you want? You want
I like
Coke or a Pepsi Coke?
Coke. No, I mean like what is it? Cola. Some people say it as like pop.
Soda.
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 I sounded real Canadian.
Yeah, I know. What happened? What, only Canadians say soda? Soda.
Minnesota.
Sorry.
Yeah.
A. Hoser.
I. No one says I. No.
Hmm?
I was going to say I. Yeah. I.
Like I.
Yeah, that's what I was like, wait, no. Mexican. I might be wrong. Like I'm totally.
that seems.
I'm Hispanic, but I'm a Mexican. Or I'm a Mexican, but I'm a Mexican in reality. I don't.
I don't know.
My dad always introduced us as Americans.
Well, yeah, I mean that's.
I mean,
but that's a great way to be.
Oh yeah, no. I love it now. It's just funny because it's like things I should know because my mom's family is very Mexican and like barely speak English kind of deal, but I've never picked that up really.
The not speaking English part?
Yeah. Well, both. Yeah. Honestly, both. When I was younger, I had problems with it.
Speaking English?
Speaking at all, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I only know one language is because, like, they tried to teach me both languages because kids are supposed to, like, absorb that, like, when they're younger. Like,
right.
Be able to, like, help if they're spoken in both languages.
Yeah.
But I grew up with, like, apparently I grew up not really speaking till, like, 4. And my sister, like, spoke sentences and ran around me all the time with, like, speech. She's like, yeah, you came out real quiet and we couldn't get Raven to shut up. Like, she's, like, they had a, yeah, no, apparently that's what the doctor said for a speech therapist. That she's like, she's really smart and she does know words, but she just doesn't have anything to say. Like, and then, yeah, so they suggested to, like, teach one language, which I barely know now.
Yeah, I barely know English as well.
I've always been the type to just look around and stare at people / also create little stuff here and there.
Yeah, art is my language.
Art is my language. Although, like, sometimes it, like, switches on so nicely, like, on random times. Like, I'll be channeling, like, I'll say things even, I'm like, that sounded really smart. Like, where did that come from? That actually made sense.
Yeah. We're just waiting for the right time.
Yeah. Maybe. That right flow when it comes to language, I guess, is a certain thing.
As long as you have it when you need it, that's all that counts.
True. I notice it's always like, and I've been told by people like I would work with and stuff, like I switch on to this weird mode when I'm in like work mode, like with customers, with people, like with selling things especially.
Yeah.
Like I get in this like random trance where like it all comes out like very naturally, and like I'm able to connect with the person immediately almost. At least I think so. Like I can try to. Like I'm really good with the connection part.
The mask.
Yeah.
You put on that persona of like, okay, now I gotta be the salesperson. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But I also like, it's very like, all of it is genuine, but I do notice it's like, there's a certain mode that comes on.
But there's that personality, that whatever the confidence, that it takes, and then you don't necessarily need that throughout your entire day.
Yeah, like
so it's just
it does drain me. I know when I do like conventions and I would sell, like I would need a day to sleep because like I will like start feeling like I'm getting sick or the flu right afterwards, and it's like I'll get really tired, so I would drink a lot of Red Bull. because that would help me like stay on, and I
Yep.
can do that even with tattoos. Like I could stay on for as long as I need to, but it gets tough sometimes.
Yeah.
Like it drains on my energy, I think. Is that your family talking to you either? She didn't get notified. Gran said, what the
Yeah.
hell? She didn't get notified.
I guess people weren't getting notified. I don't know.
Weird.
I don't know. I wasn't
think-
in charge of the
Yeah.
notifications.
Well, we'll try to make an Instagram. That should help with like getting notifications and all that.
Yeah. It'll be good.
It'll be
Yeah, it was
good.
kind of a impromptu Sunday paint night.
That glow looks really cool. It even looks cool on the screen here.
Yeah. Not too bad. Furt. No, I totally understand. Yeah, I get the wore out, or drained.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm, especially conventions and all that stuff. Like,
But it's
like,
really nice.
It's like
It's really
turning
nice
on.
to-
Yeah, and then you
It's
just
really nice connecting with
go
that
go
many
go.
people.
Yeah, but afterwards, like, I'm drained. Like
Mhm.
I need to be.
Alone.
Yeah,
dark
and
place.
I'm one of those people that I need solitude. Like
Yeah.
I like being maybe not alone, but you know what I mean. Like
Mhm.
I like being away from a lot of things, and I don't necessarily want to be on all the time because I just can't.
Yeah, I don't think I could possibly really. Like I can 3 days is good. I remember I would do 4-day conventions, and the fourth day was always like really hard.
I think the third day sometimes is a
Oh yeah,
a
no,
drain,
it
especially like
poops me
you're
out.
just like, well, and in my situation, or like, I would always like catch up with friends that you haven't seen in years,
Mhm,
or at least a year, and so you're trying to see everybody and say hey to everybody and have all that stuff, plus sell and work and God forbid tattoo on top of it. Well, I mean, when I was tattooing at conventions, tattooing alone will drains the fuck out of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know language, it's Sunday. But yeah, that drains me, and then with everything, and then packing, and if there's travel involved, and it's just like, it's a giant suck fest. A suck fest of my energy.
Yeah. So I before I left Texas, I did a few conventions with my friends back home.
Uh-huh.
Like it was my goal to get them to like a few conventions before I leave. So we were able to do like 2 of them before I left.
Yeah.
John and I did 3, like cuz like I figured I did anime and Comic-Con so much, so we like went with all the same supplies that I had for like tabling and stuff, and
Yeah.
we would go and do them. And I always like, not that I'm like throwing down with my art, but like at the time I was still like figuring out a lot of different things with
Sure.
when it comes to tattoos, and I was like comfortable with like my style, but it took me a little bit longer
Well, yeah.
to do stuff.
Yeah.
So me being like, I would like organize the event and stuff, and they helped out with social media and like scheduling a place to sleep and stuff, and we would go together, and I would basically do henna at the shows while they did tattoos, and would kind of like help navigate everything.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine like being a tattoo artist by yourself trying to do everything, but it's always nice to have that like one person kind of selling kind of deal, so I figured I could be useful in that way.
Yeah.
But no, they're exhausting too. They were like I would talk them up so much, they would be busy and stuff, and it was nice. It was cool to see them, and they were pretty drained at the end too. And I try to do my best, like when I do go to conventions, even if it's slow, if there's not that many people, I try to make as many connections as I can.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
even if it's like other artists, just kind of seeing what everyone else is doing, seeing what they're using, seeing like how they like have their arm and like kind of observe what they're doing kind of deal, which is very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what conventions are all there, for. It's like sharing those ideas and just checking out and learning.
Like what the new and weird thing is, and like
yeah,
how
and just
people
like meeting
carry,
people.
Yeah. I know at Hell City I met quite a few different like really cool artists, even from all over the world. That was like that was a really cool place to go to. I really enjoyed all that.
Yeah. Also
and seeing all the art. I love that they incorporate art with it.
Yeah.
Because I think some of the... That's kind of why I kind of started my journey, was because like I wanted to see more artists and stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's more around the lines that I'm like I know I'm aligned more within that setting. And back home there's a lot of like more traditional tattooers. Like they know how to tattoo, they know how to do it well, they know how to do like certain styles well, but they don't really like draw on the side. But it's not always a bad thing. Some of them have their styles and they stick with it, and it's like,
yeah,
so like they found their thing already. They found that thing that's gonna like help them out. And I was still like playing around with everything, but I was like an artist in heart too. So but it was cool because I try to incorporate all that with the last shop and stuff, like bring artists together, like whether it's like paintings and stuff. We'd switch it around sometimes and hold events, and because it's interesting if you like success. I find that successful people kind of have connections with each other, like with artists, like just connecting with each other and promoting each other with each other's venues and stuff. It's very powerful.
The cross promotions.
Yeah, cross promoting, but also like getting to know other artists. Like that helps you advance in many ways that you can't you can't isolate yourself from like
absolutely
everything out there either.
Well, no, I mean, I know a couple artists that have gone into like whatever private studios and all that stuff, or have been doing it forever, and they're just like, okay, I'm gonna go do this, and they work, usually private studio for a while, but they find pretty quick that they miss being around other artists.
Yeah,
you know what
it's
I mean?
always fun, because then it's like, especially if you're all different. Like, I feel
yeah,
like
because
it's
you
so
vibe
cool.
off of each other. Plus, I mean, somebody that your art and my art aren't exactly like the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're definitely different on like painting styles and
styles
in general.
I mean, to sit here and paint with you, I can see you doing certain things, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I like the way that you do that. Maybe I'm, it starts to get my brain to work in a different way. Or, I start to see things like, maybe I could try something like that, but I would do it this way, or, change it around a little bit. So, yeah, it's just kind of like bouncing ideas off of each other without really needing to talk about them a lot of times.
Yeah, I've always known that I was better with watching people do it rather than like asking people most of the time.
Yeah.
Like cuz like most of the time it's just cuz like I don't know what to ask. Like
right, yeah.
I don't know the full spectrum of like what we can all do. So it's
right.
like I'm always trying to observe the artists and see what they're doing, and like every now and then I'll like that's how I learned Photoshop actually.
Yeah.
Was like in when I was like 13, my dad gave me Photoshop, and there's so many fucking buttons.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I looked at it and didn't touch it for, like, years. Like, I wanted it so bad because I saw these, like, cool speed paintings of, like, anime and stuff that I really wanted to try to get into.
Yeah.
And so I bought myself a tablet through, like, babysitting dogs and stuff, and I got myself a tablet finally. Dog sitting. Okay. Babysitting dogs. Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe they had babies.
I know. I was babysitting their babies. You don't know. But no, I mean, like the way I learned finally was just I would find speed painting videos and like see what buttons they're touching. I would make sure it's one of like not just the screens that just shows a screen, but it showed like the toolbars and stuff, like what they were doing, like how did they set it to.
Just like watching tutorials and stuff like that.
Yeah, because like. Yeah, I always, like, watched them do their things, like, how much of opacity they did to do this one technique, or, like, how they got the pressure point to point. And then I figured out that, like, Photoshop basically works in layers and transparencies over top of each other, and if you do it right, like
Just
you won't
like
have to
painting.
like kill yourself
Uh-huh.
if you fuck up. I always forget though. Like I always forget which layer I'm on, and I'll do like extensive work on the line drawing, and I'm like, well, can't do anything with the lines anymore.
I've yeah, I found myself
Have
do
you done
that
that?
a time or two.
And I'm always like, damn it.
Never on Photoshop because kind of like you, I don't want to mess with Photoshop. I mean,
I love Photoshop.
I mean, we have it on the
Actually,
Mac, but
yeah.
that Mac is
Dude,
a
drawing
pain
with
for
it
me
is
to-
awesome.
yeah, I know,
It's
and
awesome.
I used it way back in the day, but like I got into that Procreate, and I still don't know half of what Procreate does, but I
It's just
love
playing
that.
with it.
You know what I mean?
I think like I even still learn new things for Photoshop here and there. Like I've like recently I've like learned the quick keys and like everything to do things so much faster.
Yeah, see, I've had the 3 ginormous thick books. They look like
See,
Bibles.
I hate those shits.
Yeah,
because,
I've seen the
'cause I think
Bibles of them, and I'm like, nope.
they
can't do
tried
that.
selling us that in like college for
Sure.
like a good like I could not. The reason why I didn't like fall through with like graphic design was because the way they were teaching Photoshop and Illustrator was horrible. Like so like they had those Bible books that they were like having us turn to page like 79 to learn how to like cut from an image, and they would do things like 5 like steps over, and I could do it in like 2.
Right.
And I was like, there's no point in teaching these extra steps if you could do it like in a much quicker way. But it was only because like I was playing with it and experimenting with it, and I was always like adding more effects than more people and like doing what I could. So it was interesting. It just didn't challenge me either. Like I would do the project the day of, which is never good. But I've always like, but it turned out good enough to where like we would have like class discussions, like have it framed and put up, and we'll all look at it together. And usually the teacher would pick someone to like pick out who like which one catches your eye first, and we'll talk about that one. And usually, more times than not, like not bragging or anything, but people would pick mine. But I think it's just because like I try to get more detailed with it and do what I already kind of understood.
Yeah.
Cause like
Not bragging, but bragging.
not bragging, but bragging. But
Is
you
that
know,
like sorry but not sorry?
kind of? But like, but it was just like in the sense that like. I kind of didn't like that though. Like deep in my heart, I was like, I need someone to call me out on shit so I know how to like get better. And it was just like no one would do that. Like
Yeah.
no one even. And actually, the reason I picked sculpting was because like my teacher always called me out on my shit. He's like, you know, you could do so much better. He's like, you have good concepts. Like you have the mind for it. You just don't ever put more time into it. And you need to put more time into it. And I was like, oh, you're right. Like I don't know. Personally, I always like when people kind of call me out on certain, like, respectfully,
Yeah.
you know, like, but also, like, give it to me straight. Like, what looks weird to you? Or, like, how much do you think I could do better with this one thing? And, like, but I do need, like, people who are supportive, too. Like, I love it when, like, people, like, see it and they get, like, really excited about what I've done, which is cool, too. But it's kind of like your parents telling you, like, it's good when it's like, but you're my parents.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I totally understand that.
but, like, your opinion matters to me more in the world. Like, if you tell me it's shit, that definitely will go and, like, crumble my spirit a little bit. Not gonna lie, but I'm also, like, I don't know. I like the constructive criticism when it's good and well thought out. Like when it can help me advance.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I like when somebody's like, yeah, it's good, but and I'm like, oh sweet, here it comes. You know what I mean? Because like,
Yeah.
I don't get any better if somebody's just
Right.
basically
Sucking
pamper. Yeah, exactly. I was trying to I was trying to come up with a better way of saying it, but I mean...
Were you thinking the same thing?
Yeah, but literally, yeah. Don't suck my dick. Just fucking tell me what's fucked up about it. Or what could be better, you know?
Yeah.
Or is that pinky really supposed to bend that way? You know, whatever it is. You know, it's like, fucking bust my balls.
I know, like, the people that resonate with me are, like, the people who do call me out on stuff, and I'm like, in a weird sense, I get a relief.
Yeah, because you know that they're not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
Right? And they're not afraid
also,
to
it's
fucking
like,
just be real with you.
Yeah, because, like, sometimes it's like, I'll do something and I think it looks weird, but I need someone else to, like, approve that it looks kind of weird. Just, not that I need it, but it's like, I'll try to fix it, but it's like, I don't know how else to do it, and if someone else points it out, then it's like, okay, then I really need to, like, rethink about how I'm doing this.
Right.
And so it just kind of, it helps with creating the best I can make.
Right.
Well, just like anything, like writing stories and stuff, I assume, like, writing stories and doing anything that's a craft, you want to send it to people that will tell you how to make it better.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, like, exchange a dialogue that's constructive, that would help out.
Well, yeah, you're never going to get better if you just keep doing the same thing.
Insanity, that's what it is.
I mean, it's not always, like, looking for approval. That's another thing. Like, I think a lot of people... Well, I think a lot of people misunderstand that, you know, like, hey, check this out. What do you think? You know? Yeah. And a lot of times they're just like, oh, you're looking for... Maybe not consciously, but subconsciously, they're just like, they want to give you what you want, you know, or what you think you want.
Or they want to be nice.
Yeah, maybe. So they just like,
or
just looking for approval. Cool, yeah, it looks great.
Or they just don't know. Like, they don't, because I do know people that don't know any better when it, like, because we're artists, we see it all the time. It's in our face. We're, like, thinking about it day in and day out. So we see the detailed side of it. And I notice, like, some people just, they don't have that eye sometimes. Sometimes they're like, their specialties within, they're geared somewhere else. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Those are the people that are like, here, taste this. Does that taste funny to you? Like, fuck, it didn't until you said something. You trying to poison me?
I think I'm done with this. I think I'm just going to leave it alone.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You abandoning it?
I don't want to say that.
No, it looks good.
I think really so looks too. Good. Let me add some more. I'm going to add a few freckle gold things. Hopefully I don't accidentally fuck it up by this
on the cheekers. I would almost...
Okay.
There you go. Freckles are hot.
They are. I used to henna my freckles on.
Really?
Yeah, it was cool. I got a lot of compliments on it. And I thought it was a smart idea to henna them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's better than tattooing, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. I've had to tattoo freckles on my first boss's face. Yeah, several times. They would never stick. And he was always like, do it or you're, like, fired. And I'm like, all right, well, I got no choice. And he was like, I don't care how it looks. Like, and I was like, I care how it looks. So I actually looked at freckle references to make sure, like, they didn't look like just dots. Yeah, because that's what he was trying to do it on himself, and that was the problem.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I actually, one time, I got paid $150 an hour to tattoo stubble on...
No way.
Yep, stubble on... a gentleman's forehead because he was going bald.
Yeah.
In the front. I mean,
I've heard that
male pattern. And
how'd it turn out?
I mean, it looked like stubble, but I mean, there's only so. I mean, I sat there with a single needle, like, just over and over and over.
I've seen some horribly done ones.
Yeah,
like
well,
that,
I don't.
That's why I'm like.
I do my research, so yeah,
fair,
I just sat there and stared at, like, how shaved head looks, you know, and yeah, I used a single needle and just sat there for hours, just tattooing stubble on the forehead.
Well, that's neat.
In about 7 different gradients of gray and black.
That's
so
cool.
crazy.
It's funny, the different things we do. Well, I think we're actually right around an hour mark now.
Are we on the hour mark?
Yep.
Yep. 56. Well, yeah, I believe it was a pretty awesome little podcast for Sunday, an impromptu.
Well, we're also wanting to just practice some of the talking points and stuff, and
Yeah.
I think that's good. I like this one. But
It was good.
But yeah, if you like this podcast, be sure to follow, like, and subscribe on
YouTube.
On YouTube and our own independent Instagram and well, I go mainly by Instagram
and Facebook.
Facebook as
We
well.
will probably be coming out with a Paint Night Podcast Instagram page soon. But I've got about 5 seconds before my live stream ends, so
All right.
thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all the time.
And good night to YouTube.
Good night.